So what if I told you you're already biohacking? That you don't need fancy devices, weird supplements, or extreme routines, because biohacking is just about influencing your biology. And the problem is that most people get it completely wrong. And by wrong, I mean they get it upside down. So I'm Dr. Mark. I work with athletes, entrepreneurs, high performers to optimize brain and body function. And today we're going to cut through some of the noise and explain what biohacking really is, what actually works, and how to use it properly. So we sort of ground the conversation a little bit. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to use biohacking the right way and why none of it really matters unless your foundations are in place first. So what is biohacking? Biohacking is using science, technology, lifestyle interventions to optimize health and performance. The problem is that people think that biohacking is a shortcut. And it's not a shortcut, it's a tool. So before we even talk about fancy interventions and some of the fancy tools, let's separate biohacking from basic human function. So biohacking versus just being a human. If you're already doing this first group here, congrats, you're biohacking. So biohacking, this is using science to optimize biology. This would be red light therapy, cryotherapy, cold plunges, high dose supplements, prolonged fasting, blood donation, prescription medications. We're using technology, light, temperature, nutrients in sort of super physiologic, supernatural, if that's the appropriate use of the term, pushing the body beyond its own natural baselines. That's what we're doing with biohacking. We're sort of hacking, forcing, pushing an issue with biology. The next group of things we're going to look at often gets labeled and rebranded as biohacking, but it's just being a human. And that would be moving your body, eating real food and staying hydrated, sleeping on a regular schedule and like with a circadian rhythm, managing stress and breathing properly, getting outside and touching grass, and practicing gratitude and social connections. So you don't need to hack your body to do those things, to get those benefits. This is just being a human. So I like to say, like, imagine telling your dog that chasing a ball or their tail and sniffing butts was biohacking. The dog would be like, no, this is just dog stuff. Like, I just chase other dogs and tails and sniff butts. Like, that's not a hack. Same logic applies here. So I always talk about 3, arguably 4 pillars of health. And this is sort of your foundation before biohacking. I talk about your nutrition, your movement, your mindset. So there are 4 pillars of health, like sort of your foundation of health before considering biohacking. Biohacking is great. It's cool. It's fun to kind of try and play with and see like, what changes do I notice? But it won't fix anything if these aren't in place first. So get this right first, get these foundations right first. And really, if these foundations are in place, you realize you don't need so many hacks in the first place. So the first pillar would be nutrition, what you're eating. The average food secure individual in the United States will eat 3 to 4 pounds of food a day. 3 to 4 pounds of food versus a couple pills. And those might be super physiologic and like fancy kind of high potency pills, but let's think about over here. This is going to be the bigger needle mover, the iceberg, right? So real food is greater than overpriced supplements if you have that little equation in your head. Thinking about blood sugar stability, protein intake, micronutrients. If you aren't dialed into like most of your meals, most of your days being mostly whole foods, a good balance of proteins, carbs, and fats, no amount of hacking is really going to help. So if you think like a $60 mushroom blend is going to fix your diet if you're eating like crap, not so much. Pillar number 2 is movement. So your body is meant to move. I think it's Dr. Daniel Wolport. I really think that's his name. He gave a whole beautiful TED talk on the whole reason you have a brain is to move. Organisms that don't need to move, like the sea squirt, will actually dissolve its nervous system and not move. So you're really designed to move. Movement is foundational. It's not a hack. Strength, mobility, aerobic capacity. I just did a video on VO2 max. All this stuff is foundational. Hacking recovery doesn't work if you're not moving in the first place. Like there's nothing to recover from. All my spoonies and chronic health warriors understand I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, influencer Dave Asprey trying to hack stuff. Come on, buddy. Foundations first. Pillar number 3 would be your sleep. So this is the ultimate performance enhancer. No sleep, no recovery, no good brain function. Any new parent will be able to attest to this, is that a good night of sleep is transformative. So forget smart mattresses, melatonin cocktails. The biggest thing would be to fix your sleep schedule, fix your light exposure, get off your phone, optimize if you're using caffeine, optimize the timing, meaning stop drinking caffeine, usually before lunch by about 11 a.m. Biohackers love to talk about tracking sleep, but tracking crappy sleep doesn't make it better. 4th pillar would be mindset. So this is the overlooked health multiplier. So your stress, even just your stress about biohacking and stressing about doing the right thing is a problem. So stress management, emotional regulation, gratitude, biohacking won't fix a wound up, stressed out nervous system. especially if it's wound up and stressed out about the biohacking in the first place. So now that I've given a really long preamble, what are some of the biohacks? What are some of the things that you might want to look into, that you might want to play with? These actually have some science behind them, and assuming your foundations are solid, you might see some benefits. So we're thinking about cold exposure. This is possibly good for metabolism, inflammation. Most importantly, it's probably just good for your mental resilience. The research out there is not the strongest, but we know that across the board, people generally feel good because like they accomplished the hard thing they got in the cold plunge. Next would be red light therapy. So there's pretty repeatable benefits for skin, for mitochondria, for injury recovery. That's pretty cool. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBOT, used for recovery, cognitive function, neuroplasticity. For my concussion peeps, this is not for you. For mild traumatic brain injury, it's probably not all that helpful. It's much more helpful when we get into moderate and severe territory. Heart rate variability tracking, so HRV tracking and guided recovery. So measuring your nervous system function and adjusting your stress responses and adjusting your training and your schedule in real time can be a really cool way to sort of hack your training. I believe it's auto-regulatory training. Then we've got strategic fasting. So this can be useful, not a fix for bad eating habits. You don't want to like fast for, 14 hours and then go eat a whole bunch of ultra processed foods, but playing with 14, 16, 18-hour fasts at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, can maybe help improve blood sugar, improve energy, improve cognition, different fun things like that. Note, if you have blood sugar issues, if you're diabetic, if you have anything like that, don't go fasting because you heard me say, oh, it's kind of cool. No one win a Darwin Award by jumping into doing any of these things. Always talk with your doctor, your provider, your healthcare team before jumping into any of these, but particularly fasting. We've got fun things like your nootropics and different supplements. Big ones would be like caffeine and L-theanine, proven for focus, but don't abuse it. Don't abuse caffeine. Don't kind of make it a replacement for the crappy sleep that we talked about earlier. And remember, these are tools. They are not the foundation. Build the foundation. These are tools, not solutions. They're there to amplify and build upon the already solid foundation. They don't replace it. Now, before we go, let's talk about some myths, scams, I don't know what we want to call it. Overpriced wearables and data tracking. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of tracking things that you don't know how to act on. Tracking without action is pointless, and then you might get paralysis by analysis. There's so many things you can measure and so many metrics out there. It can just overwhelm you. Like, why is this in the red? Why is that yellow? I want green. Like, if you don't know what to do with it, it doesn't really matter, and it's actually not that helpful for you in the first place, and it's probably dragging down your mindset and your sleep and all the other foundations that we want to be improving anyway. Next would be extreme longevity supplements. We just don't have human data on making you live longer and get really, really old. So it's a lot of marketing hype. And then the next thing would be, I've already echoed this, but hacking instead of mastering the basics. There's no quick fix. There's no this solution. That's just not life. Like, there's a whole industry out there because they can make money off of it, because it's a repeatable business, because there just is no solution like that. You can't out biohack a bad lifestyle. So no supplement, no wearable, no high-tech gadget is going to save you from poor habits. So there you have it, almost a whole video of me pooping on biohacking. Biohacking isn't magic. It won't fix bad habits, but when used right, it can be great. So I talked a lot of negativity about it, but I do play with some of the biohacks. I love cold plunges. I have a red light at home. I think it's fun. It can be a great tool, but if you don't have the foundation in place, womp womp. So if you found this helpful, enjoyable, if you liked it in any way, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, do all the YouTube things. That's free for you. It helps me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Until next time, I'm Dr. Mark.